I'm just spending a little time on the chamber itself. You said between that and there were other types of filters, like a cross-air filter and a bottom draft filter.
Okay.
Could you explain a little bit?
Yeah. So there's two different.
Like what sold at Micro Mark?
Okay. So from my research, there's two general types of spray boots. There's a downdraft and a cross draft. This style of boot that you have built was actually a cross draft. And what that means is this is where the suction is coming from in this boot. So we're drawing air across our work surface and we're evacuating the paint particles across out of the back. So that's where the term cross draft comes from. A downdraft is really what you see in the Micromart one, where the filter is on the bottom and you put your workpiece here and the paint particles get drawn to the bottom and taken out. Okay. I don't know. I've never used a bottom draft, but my personal thinking is that if you look at that, I got my work surface on a filter. Like, you know, this isn't very stable. And, you know, all I can think of is being on a downdraft is that it's like rocking around. So that's why I really wanted to go with a cross draft.
Okay.
So now we're down to 15 pounds. For me to get coverage, I'm opening my brush up so much that now I'm getting splatter again. Or if I do it like this, look how light it gets. It's so light that we're going to be putting a lot of coats on. And I just blew it out again.
Right.
So when you go down too low, it can have the same effect as too high.
Right. So you got to find that medium that you're happy.
Medium. That's what I'm trying to show you here.
Right. AJ
of our projects, I want to get in here and test it. This was a brand new out of the box Atlas unit, never been touched. Put it on the test track and ran it. It ran really well. Had no binding, no squealing, no issues. The headlights worked, so it was a good candidate for this project. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get in here. We're going to start disassembling the unit. We will take the shell off and get into the internals.
Once again, storing the parts in your Chinese containers?
Actually, no, I ran out of Chinese food containers. I'm just using the jewel case on this one. I got so many projects that they're all backed up.
Time to have a party.
Yeah, it's time to get some Chinese food. So I'm going to get in here, loosen these screws up on this chassis and split the frame. And we'll drop the trucks out and we'll pull that light board out. Also, we're going to get that light shield out of the way and pull the fuel tank off. Now with this unit, because it's a newer Atlas unit, I did not mess with the wheel sets. I went with the standard wheel sets that came from Atlas because roughly, I don't know time frame, but I'm going to say, you know, after 2005-ish or so, they started making these lower profile wheels on their locomotives. So there's no real need to put a low profile set on them. You know, in the past, the reason I've been doing that is because with the 6-axle units and the older Atlas stuff, running with the Code 55, the low profile wheels just run a lot better. But this unit already had a good set of wheels on it, so I didn't even mess with that.
If you have a runaround track at every town or switching location where you're going to do switching, you cannot get trapped. Yeah. You can make the switch moves. And I think that's a thing that many people, when they're designing their own layouts, forget. They forget that industry they're going to go by on the main line that maybe needs to be switched. They forget to put a runaround track in, and that's really important.
Yeah.
Right. And
I'll shut up.
The other thing I'm going to key on what Bill was saying is this runaround. If you look, I got 3 cars here, and then I got to leave a break for the road crossing. I can maybe fit one more in down here, and that's it. But that doesn't limit you. You can still make multiple movements to get your train turned around in pieces. So it doesn't have to be a 2,000-foot siding, to get the effect of what you need. This one's a rather short run around here because of the track configuration. So,
Mike Simmons says, "Hey man,
Go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry. Mike Simmons says a 3-man crew saves a lot for the conductor and brakeman walking, which is true.
That's key, and Mike brought that up on my channel, and you got to look at your time frame. So I did some research, and I found that 1988, the era that I'm modeling, Conrail still had 3-person crews. So that means that you have a guy riding on here, and they have one on the ground throwing your turnout. So in real life, it's kind of shortening the time for movements. So that's another key, is also knowing your era that you're operating in. Are you having 3, 4, or 2-person crews?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to YouTube Model Builders into Joe's Train Room tonight. It's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday, isn't it? Wednesday, right? I believe it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm telling you, this retirement thing, every night is Friday and every morning is Saturday. So welcome to Wednesday night, January 16, 2019, into Joe's Train Room. Tonight, we're going to be discussing industrial switching. But let me just give a shout out to all those that came in. Let's see who came in since the beginning. Michael Conley, hello. Sparky 107 107. Ari McKeeva, hi. Kyles, H.O. Chessie, hello. Corn Country Rails. Cabana Bob, yes. Hey, Bob. Al Ma, there's my man, Big Al. Andy Crawford, the one, the only, the living legend. Jerry, where's Jerry? Jerry. Jerry's new, he's saying? Jerry Satarala. Am I correct? Am I saying that right? Jerry, if I'm not, please forgive me for my mispronunciation of your last name, sir. John Dilly's in the house. Let's see, Cabana Bob, Sparky, John Dilly. Oh, there you go, John. John's saying hello to everybody, so we get that out of the way. So there we go. Tonight, hey, Gaffa Haynes. Hey, Joe. Hey, Gaffa, how are you, buddy? Anyway, tonight we have we're going into Joe's Train Room tonight, and Joe's going to be continuing on switching, and we're going to be doing industrial switching. And if we have time, we'll throw in a little extra caveat, as they say among the elite. But thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate it. Up here in New York City, we're expecting a storm on the northeast here. Getting ready for the weekend. Don't know if we're going to get snow, rain, or whatever. I love the weathermen. They get paid $180,000, and when they're wrong, they don't get fired. They keep them, and they keep going on. So we'll see what happens. But before we get into that, just let me give you an update of what's going on here at YouTube Model Builders. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to have the Johnny's Train Room, and you're all welcome. All of you are welcome to join into Johnny's Train Room. That's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. Join in. It's for you, the guys in the community. You can get on into the chat like we're doing right here, me, Joe, or you can do the Q&A. If you have a project you're working on, you have a question you want answered, or you have something you want to share with everybody, Johnny's Train Room is the place to be, because that's where everything gets solved, from model railroading to world peace. So that's what we try to do here, to have everybody happy. But in that case, also next week on January 23rd, 2019, we'll be coming back with Who is Big Bill Talking To, and we'll be having a special guest. Ralph the Mudfather Renzetti will be on. He'll be with us next week, and we'll be picking his brain on weathering, how he weathers, how he makes those couplers and those wheels look so real and prototypical. We're going to be discussing that with him. And that's it for right now. So without further ado, let's turn it over to Joe. Joe, tonight, well, first and foremost, Joe, welcome. How are you feeling the last time I think we saw you, you were just getting over your what do you call it?
Yeah, the appendicitis. Yeah,
the appendicitis.
Feeling good. I'm feeling back to normal, getting things done, back to work, and holidays are over, and we're in the new year. So, yeah, doing good. How about you, Bill? What's up with you?
I'm well. I am well. I'm looking forward to the new year. Looking forward to help getting this. I figured out the track situation. I was telling you guys earlier, but I'll be doing another video separate on that. But everything is everything. Everything is copacetic. Tips and all, I can't complain. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. So tonight we're going to be doing industrial switching.
Yeah. So on this layout here, I got two little shelves where I put industrial areas. One you've already seen. You've seen Sayreville. Oh, sorry, that's the alarm clock going off on the fast clock. Telling everybody you gotta. It's quitting time. Shift change. So you've already seen Sayreville. I've shown you that before. The other area that I don't think I've shown you yet is Tom's River. Tom's River had a large chemical facility down there called Ciba-Geigy. Had a lot of bad history in New Jersey. They were one of the gross polluters down in South Jersey. They were linked with a cancer cluster, but I included it on the layout because it generated a ton of traffic, and it was, a lot of people worked there. So it was a big facility. So what I've done is I've kind of compressed it and fit it on the shelf. And what I want to demonstrate to everybody is that, you don't need a big bedroom. You don't need a big basement. You can put a very packed full little industry on a 4 foot by 2 foot shelf. And if you do it right, yeah. And if you do it right, you can make it complex where it can tie up somebody. I mean, Ciba-Geigy, during the op session, if you remember, Bill, it ties up an operator for 4 hours just in that one little area there.
Yep, that's true.
So that's pretty much the route today. So I'm going to get maneuvered, if you will.
All right. Well, you're getting maneuvered. I want you to know. Eric Hall wants to know, Joe, did you get a surgery too? I had the same thing last week.
Yeah, laparoscopic surgery to remove it.
And apparently, well, I hope you're feeling better, Eric. I hope you're back on the mend and not lifting any heavy weights, anything. Well, you're an N scale, so that's not too heavy. Anyway, serious men do serious railing. Anyway, who do we have? We have Jason Thomas in the house. Jason seems to be new to this room and new to the hobby, it would seem. Jason Thomas, Andy says, stay new and keep learning. No matter how long you're in the hobby, there's a lot to know in this hobby, and nobody can know it all, even if a few folks think they do. Yep, he's right about that, bro. He's right about that. So stay froggy, Jason. Keep learning. Ask questions. Brian. Right. Okay, so what do we got going on here?
Okay, let me just do this real quick. All right, so this is my compression of Ciba-Geigy. This is what we call Building 105. This was one of the production buildings. They made dyes and stuff like that down here. This is the resin production building here. It's called Building 108. And this is their steam plant because they made a lot of steam for all this production. Now right now it's go ahead.
What was actually produced there?
Azo dyes and vat dyes. So vat dyes are what you use to dye fabrics. Like kind of think of like a RIT dye. Remember the old RIT dye, Bill?
Yeah.
That's a vat dye. And an azo dye is a very complex dye that they would use to dye like upholstery.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And now if you do some research of all the chemical production facilities in the world, the dye production is the most polluting production there is. For every 1 pound of dye you get 10 pounds of waste.
And that waste would consist of what? Arsenic, lead, and other acids?
A whole host of stuff. Sulfuric acid cake, toluene waste, a lot of stuff. Nasty stuff.
Nasty stuff is right.
So that's why pretty much Tom's Ciba-Geigy here closed down in '89, and they moved all their production to a country that didn't, let's say, I want to be politically correct here, a country that doesn't have the environmental oversight that the United States does.
Right.
So that's the layout here. So I kind of compressed it because this was actually a 700-acre facility. They had over 34 buildings. I mean, it could have been a layout of its own. So I kind of took the root of the production facility and what I thought was the most important and included it in here. So the way this job works is we'll bring the local in. I got a local keyed up, and we'll bring it in down the. I already had the switch set.
Live. Now, Joe, with this situation, with these buildings, are you going to mock these are mock-ups, obviously. Are you actually going to make those buildings, replicate
Yes.
them?
I have to apologize, everybody. Right now, it's in a real rudimentary mock-up right now. I use these foam core buildings just to represent what we're going to be building. I probably won't get down to
a great idea.
I got that. Bill, I got that from a model railroader magazine. I don't remember who wrote the article, but they were saying to use foam core to build rough mock-ups just so you can get an idea of your track plan.
Absolutely. A great idea. This way you know how you can situate the buildings and don't get waylaid by any surprises.
Yep. Okay, so let me tilt the camera this way so you can see me while I talk. All right, so got my local in here. I got my switch list, so we know what work we need to do. I threw in some little unusual circumstances in here to demonstrate some stuff for everybody. I got my car cards and waybills, so I know what we're doing.
All right.
So now, if you look in this facility, it's kind of short. So you got to kind of leave cars out on this hill back there. If I move this building anywhere. So back here is a grade. So if I release these cars, they're going to slide right down into Lakehurst.
Wow.
So what I've done is I've built a handbrake. And what it is just a tortoise that sticks a pin up under the car. I got that idea from, I can't remember. I did a whole video on it on my channel. I forgot who actually did it. One of the guys up in Canada. I forget his name. So now what happens is I pull forward. I leave that car because I don't need that car.
Right.
And it stays right there magically. So the pin will hold it while it's on the grade. So now we can get going with our work. I'll put this back here. All right, so the first move we got to make is the Milwaukee boxcars got to go into building 105. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull forward. And I'm going to spot this tank rib. I'll move up about another car length. And I'll stop right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and set a handbrake on that tank car. And we'll uncouple that tank. Now we're going to move forward. Uh-oh, got a dead spot. All right. So I'm in position to start my work for this building here. But now what we have, when I pull my cards out, I got a, what is that? I got a paper clip here.
Right.
So my railroad here, what that paper clip means is that this car is getting held. It's gonna be left in spot and where it is. We're not going to move it.
This box car?
It's a little covered hopper. The covered hopper back here.
Oh, it's okay. So that's staying there.
That's staying. Well, according to our switch list, we need to pick up this car here.
Right.
So what I'll do is we're going to go ahead and make that maneuver.
Now that covered hopper is being picked up and moved out.
The CSX one right behind the boxcar is going right back in its spot.
Okay.
This one here is coming out.
Oh, all right, all right. Okay, okay. And now I see the second car. I didn't see it before. That's why I was asking.
So now I'm doing this all on purpose because I want to show you this.
All right, well,
What happened here is we are not going to
clear the switch.
not going to clear. So with the way I've done this is it makes it a little more difficult to make your maneuvers.
So hold on just 1 second. So you haven't, that last car has not cleared the switch. Is that correct?
The fouling point is right here.
Okay, so you're beyond the points. Okay.
So I'm about a half car length still hanging over the fouling point.
Okay.
So by design, now what you have to do is you have to kind of cut it. So what we're going to do is we'll drop this here, pull forward, and now we have cleared this fouling point for the crossover.
Right.
I'm going to drop this in here on the crossover and get it out of the way. And I think I might have, boom. Yeah.
Yo, we got to be urinating in the cup now, son.
How not to switch. Now we can pull this and we'll clear that fouling point. Yeah. So now what I can do is now I've been able to clear. And now I can get, this is the car that I want.
Right.
Now these cars got to go back in, but this needs to be in the forward position because that's where it was.
Right, right. So, and the box car has to be behind that.
Yep.
Man, this is interesting.
So what's going to happen, I'll push it down here. Ooh.
You derailed?
I had too much caffeine.
Ding, 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 ding.
So now we're going to put that boxcar back in there. Okay. Now we'll pick up that covered hopper and we'll put that covered hopper back in there. Now, yes, I know I'm kind of not I'm breaking my rules here. I'm not taking too many pauses.
Well, for sake of well, you're already in trouble because you hit the train at the fountain.
How many comments did we get on that one?
So you can only urinate once into the cup. So it doesn't, from this point forward, you might as well just forget all the rules. Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line says, ask, what has Joe done to prepare his track for tonight's show? I.e., cleaning? While I am working on my workbench, I let my main line run with the loco to keep the rails clean.
Yeah, Dwight, unfortunately, with this little section here, because it's like a branch line,
right?
I don't get the luxury of just running straight through. So I got to get in here and I got to do it all by hand.
Oof.
So just a good old-fashioned Bright Boy is what I use in here.
Yeah.
All right. The boxcar's at the door, and the hopper is roughly in the same spot where we started.
You got to move the camera back.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Keep me
There
on.
we go. Now we're looking.
Keep me on.
Like
all right. And we recoupled. Okay. So I'm going to pull out of there. We have all right. So we have picked up that car. We put that car back. Can you see it in the washed out light?
right. Yeah. No, you can see it. You can see it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back in the box.
Right.
We've dropped our Milwaukee road car. Put
Right.
that in the box.
Okay.
Now, looking at my switch list, the next thing we need to do is this car here needs to get in here.
Which car? Point that out again. Which car?
This tank.
Tanker car, right.
Has to go in this little spur here.
Corn Country Rails wants to know, do you pre-block the cars for what industrial building they will go to?
Tonight? No, I didn't.
But on a whole, do you usually?
Yes. Usually I have the operators, I give them the opportunity. I usually pre-block them out before the session. But tonight I didn't do that because I wanted to kind of keep it interesting.
Okay.
Because from what I understand is, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, when you were working over in South Brooklyn, you would either block the cars out in the yard or you block them out on the road, right?
You try, well, for what we did, you'd want to block them in the yard.
Okay.
Not on the road, because the road is the subway would run through there. So for any industrial, for those switching types, we'd want to do it in the yard, run everything around there and set it up so that when we go in, we just go in.
Okay.
Ralph Renzetti says, Joe, we have to teach you how to maintain your track and you'll hardly ever have to use a Bright Boy again. Eric Hall, IMRRO.com says, pre-block in the yard, lots of time. You do not have the space at most industries. True. Very true.
Right, but if you have the yard or the road, you can. I've been told that some railroads they'll do it on the road if they have a long siding.
Yeah, right. But at times we don't have the luxury sometimes of having that on a model railroad.
Right.
But it's 6 in one, half a dozen the other.
Okay, so what I got to do is I got to move them cars out to clear this turnout in here so I can get down here to work this steam plant. So I've recoupled to my train. I'll pull forward to release. So what I got to do now is I got to pull up and relieve the strain on the pin as soon as I get it to couple. We'll drop the handbrake and I'll back up. One couple here.
Eric Hall says, then IMRROCOM. You still need to clear traffic if you are not the only crew/train working that section of track.
All right, now we're going to come down here and work the steam plant.
Now, Joe, while you're doing that, is that train still held with the pin in place so that it doesn't roll?
Yes, that's what we were doing. I had to re-engage it on the hopper now.
Okay.
Watch. If I do this. Okay.
Oh, yes. See
the pin?
Yep.
Right in here.
Now, how is that pin? That pin controlled by a tortoise switch machine?
Yeah, I used one of the semaphore, the things that control the semaphore actuators. So change that motion of the tortoise that goes this way to up and down.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I need one of those on. I have a little bit of in the 3rd Avenue warehouse district. I gotta get one. So now you're hooked up to. Okay, so now you're pushing.
Trying to get a coupling.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now I'm in position for our next shift. Oh shoot. Okay. So we need to put that car in there. If we look down in our waybill box, we're picking up the white tank car over here.
The second one in.
What's that, Bill?
The second one in.
Yep.
To the bump and block.
And then we put a customer request in here.
Okay.
This car, they're not done with it. They want it moved.
Right.
Over to building 108. So we got to shift it over there for them, interplant switching. So that's what this is. Okay.
Okay.
So
while you're doing this, Jason Thomas asks, so tortoise or track with switch on it, which do you guys prefer? Well, a tortoise switch, Jason, is an electrical box that you would place underneath as you're building your layout, and it actually manually, you have a on-off switch, on, stop, off, and it would move the switch, or you can get hand throws to throw your switches, or you can use the finger flicker. Flick it with your finger. Can't reach, right? Tortoise switch machine. Yeah, I know. Tortoise machines are good for areas that may be a little too far reaching for you to reach over and throw the switch by hand or by hand throw. So electronically, you would set it up and wire it. If you go to our previous videos on JMRI and others on our electronics YTMB catalog of videos, you can see actually a couple of those videos.
Yeah, it's a little cramped right now because I got the big camera in the way. So usually this little area right in here, the operator can work right in here. And we're right by the door here. This is the door frame off camera. And there's enough room in here that the operator can work here and people can come in and out of the room. So
right. Very true. So now the black tanker cart, that's got to be moved someplace else because that's staying but being switched to another track.
That black tanker is going in here. That's our next move.
Okay.
Well, we also got another problem here.
And what problem would that be?
The first tank has to come back in the same spot. We're not picking that up. It's got to hold. and the black one in the back. That's coming out.
Right.
So this is how we're going to try this. Go back over here. I'll move these guys here and run around so I can work backwards.
Okay.
And just to let everybody know, I did not rehearse this.
This is live right here. Anything that happens, it's not pre-rehearsed.
I think I already proved that when I ran into the train.
Well, that just shows. That's why they have erasers at the end of pencils, brother. Right. Okay, Andy Crawford says you can't use hand throws on delicate track work. Is one-to-one humans are a little heavy-handed for well-detailed track work. So with hand throws, you have to oversize the mechanism so it's stout and eliminate detail. Okay, that makes sense. Gaffy Haynes says we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. This is actually a trained chess thing going on here.
Okay. Hit that.
See that? Hear that little winding down and winding up? That's the switch being thrown underneath the layout by the tortoise switch machine. And you make such nice ads, Joe.
What's that, buddy?
You make such nice ads. There's no banging and clanging. I used to love to hit that thing hard, man.
I need a little divine intervention here. Okay.
No condemnation, Andy Crawford says, for whatever works for anyone's particular railroad. True, very true. It's just an observation, Andy. You know.
All right, everyone. Following me so far?
Following you so far. We came out. We went back in. We're hooked up.
We're going to go pick this string up here.
Right.
Got to get rid of this guy. The black cars needs to go back in his spot because they want the yellow car here.
Right, and they want to put that. Okay.
That's hard on my railroad. When it says held, it's got to be put right back in the same spot.
Right. Right.
All right.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, one day I'll get the scenery in here. I'll make it so much nicer.
Looks good. That's why we need that plywood prairie to work all these little kinks out. You know?
We are picking here. Why are we picking? Yeah, we're picking here. I don't know why.
Jason Thomas says, wish I was there to operate with you, Joe. Andy Crawford says, just didn't want to come off as a harsher and pickier than everybody already knows I am. Andy,
all right, there we go.
That's why we love you, brother. There we go. Now we're pulling it out. And we got to go to, the white tank is coming out. And the black tank is going to go back in its place with the smaller yellow tank going on top of that.
Yep, so we're going to do this like this. 2 moves.
Already envisioning what's going to happen here, Joe.
I got to mark these fouling points. One thing. There was a comment on my last op session. I just haven't gotten around to it.
All right. Gaffer Haynes says, I like the hand of God crane system. Works well for me. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Rock Island 652 says, slow down. Easy does it. Howie Mann wants to know, very cool, this operation stuff. Jason Thomas wants to know, Joe, is your layout a point-to-point?
We operate in our sessions as point-to-point, and I would be staging the staging. But I do and can have the option of doing a run around.
Right, he does.
Continuous run.
Right.
So when nobody's looking, I can run, just let stuff go. I had trains running today while I was working down here.
Okay.
All right, so we got our black car in there.
Right.
And we're going to grab our little beer can car, and we're going to move that back in there.
Yeah. Rock Island 652 says 4 miles per hour or less.
I'm about walking speed here, right?
Yeah, I would say so. He wants to know, Rock Island 652 wants to know, what is your uncoupling tool? A skewer?
No, it's a Rix. It's made by Rix.
Right.
Really nice. Got this little reinforced edge, if you need to push in like a point or something like that. And this is for working.
It's got the Rix, it has a little flat head too, right?
Yep, little flat head here.
Yeah, little flathead. Yeah, that's pretty good. I have a couple of those. I'll tell you, let me see if I can find what I use. Oh, they're always out of reach. Hey, John. Hi, all. James, that looks like so much fun. Yes, thanks. John, Rock Island 652 says thanks. Oh, here's mine. Just showing them off to you. These are bamboo skewers. What I did was put a wire nut at the end and the point. You can use it to go in and turn. Once, if you dull these down, you can always just unscrew that. Screw a new one in, and you're ready to rock and roll. This all cost me a bag of 1,000 for $1 at the dollar store. And trust me, it works.
There we go.
Brad, I'm going to pronounce that name wrong, that last name. Brad wants to know, what is that awesome fascia color called besides green? Hancock gray.
Mine or yours?
Yours is similar to mine.
Mine's Gaucho. Get it low.
Gaucho. Mine is Hancock gray. It's the same. They call it Hancock, and it's from Benjamin Moore. I don't know why, but his is Gaucho. Oh man, what's going on?
All right. So we're gonna take a quick pause here. We got that car back where it needs to go. That's in 108. Made our movement for the plant. We'll put that in 108. Black and white.
Howie Mann says, "Ooh, I like that wire nut idea." Ron's Trains and Things is in the house. Good evening.
All right. We missed a move.
What did we miss?
863 back there on the hill. It's got to go in a 105. It's that tank, that black and white tank back there. So that's easy fix. Drop these two here.
You know,
Plan B. All right. It's okay. This is actually not that bad. See, that's why you got to keep up on your paperwork.
Yep. Got to pay. I know that. I know that. Bob says, love both the Gaucho and the Hancock Gray. Thanks, guys. Brian N.S. Scott Teague plastered his fascia, had painted it a dull black, looks like rock formations. Very cool.
All right, drop that pin. Let's pull these in. All right, here's what we're going to do with this. We're going to turn our train anyway.
Right.
We're going to have to bring these in here eventually. That little sucker. See that? Got one on the ground. Damn it.
Derailment?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You're going to be doing a lot of urinating after this session's over. I hope you didn't have any beer.
Look at that.
You know, Brian, one time I was making up a subway train at a Coney Island yard, and I had worked a double. And it was 8 cars I was supposed to bring into the station. And when I pulled into the station, the dispatcher called me immediately on the radio and said, "You have to take this train back to the yard." I was like, "Why is that?" Because you have 12 cars and only 10 cars can fit in the station. And you're supposed to bring me 8. You know how embarrassing that was? And the general superintendent was in the office. When I got back, I apologized to him, and he said, "For what?" I said, "For what happened." He goes, "What happened?" I said, "When I brought the trains." He goes, "I don't know nothing about it." He says, "I was in the bathroom when it happened."
All right, there you go.
There you go.
All right. That goes in 105. This goes in the steam plant. Just getting caught up on the paperwork there, everyone. Sorry. No, I'm letting it idle. Coasting. All right. Now.
Rock Island 652 says derailments and shorts only happen when there's an audience. So very, very true.
All right, we're going to dump these 2 here. Grab these 2 tanks.
Brian W. says, LOL, Brooklyn, on my trips from Staten Island, New York to Long Island, I'd always be pressed against the window to get a view of the trains in the yard. Gil Hodges Field, right? You're absolutely correct. Coney Island Yard, Brian. Absolutely correct.
All right, here we go. $49. Okay. Got to take this in pieces.
That's all right.
Because we don't got room. Take that.
What part of Staten Island, Brian W., did you live in? Brad says, awesome, thank you. Love to see the behind the scenes. Love these show guys. Very helpful. We'll come in, Brad, every Tuesday Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Thursdays tomorrow night we'll have Johnny's train talk show, Johnny's Train Room, where it's open, where you can get in on this like we're doing right here. It's open to the community. And you can get in on this, and you can, what do you call it? Hang out. What? Yeah, the panel's open, to the public, to the community. So come on in tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brian W. says he comes from New Dorp, Staten Island. New Dorp must have went to Farrell High School. I live in Staten Island, Brian. I live on Myers Corners, Manor Road and Victory. Midwest Model Railroad, our good friend Steve Atwell's in the house. Hey, Steve, how are you?
All right, how we doing there?
Looking good. I like the way this is coming.
Yeah, you see? We're all set. No, we didn't. This car we're dragging around, it serves a purpose. It's not just an empty car. That's actually my end-of-train device. It's got the flasher in it. And I forgot to turn it on before the show. So that's why we're dragging it around.
All right.
So I'm going to get this on the back of the train. That's what I'm doing. So really the way the layout operates is it operates like we have cabooses, but it's not a caboose. It's a boxcar.
Now, on your end, on this layout and this railroad that you have, do you run cabooses on your trains?
Some of them, yeah, I do. Yeah, like if there's something with a long shove, like down into the sand pit, we'll put a caboose on the back end of it to something, because in the prototype that backing maneuver was like 1.5 miles. So the conductor needed somewhere to be, and they also went back on they crossed a road crossing.
Right.
So. All right. There.
Oh, Brian W. Yes, St. Teresa's in. I don't attend that church, but that church is in my neighbor. I attend church in Brooklyn, but yeah, my son Mikey went to St. Peter's Boys.
Sometimes I don't get a good couple here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do this.
Howie Mann says CSX also still uses cabooses for that same purpose.
Yeah, but they call them splats, right, bud? Who's that? Who said that?
Right, Howie Mann.
Howie Mann. They call them splats, right? Or do they still use regular cabooses? A splat. I've seen them. They look like flat cars or cut down cars with a bunch of railings on them. But that this turnout here, it's got a long cable to actuate it. So if you jump the gun, it doesn't fully seat over. So that's why the front truck came off. All right, here we go. Pick up our train. Conductor's going to move the EOT on the car. There you go.
So you have working DOTs on the end of your trains that don't have cabooses?
Correct. Yes. It's Gator Works, I think was the name of the company I bought them from. They have a little watch battery in them.
Yeah, yeah.
These Athearn tank cars, they got these McHenry couplers on them. Oh, I hate them. They don't made up nice. You always have to like push the cars together.
Midwest Model Railroad, Steve Atwell says, foam core building mock-ups are a great way to play with spacing on your layout until you get the opportunity to build something permanent. Also, way better than bad plywood. We were just talking about that, Steve.
All right, so I'm gonna see that tank car is a pain.
There's always one in the crew. There's always one there that does that. Gaffney Haynes says the hand of God crane system, you guys ought to patent it.
There we go. And we're done. Check our paperwork. Got all our way bills that we need to go back to with us. Our switch list says we completed all our work. Crew's going to go have their lunch.
There you go. Jason Thomas going to bed. Good night, Jason. Be well. Take care and God bless. And come by tomorrow on John's Train Talk Show. Midwest Model wants to know, are the couplers body mounted or truck mounted?
Truck mounted.
Truck mounted on the tank, on that tank cars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's stock from Athearn.
Okay.
So we took a few liberties and shortcuts for everybody. Try to keep this under an hour. We could have added in there time for setting handbrakes and popping pins and resetting couplers and 20 minutes or like 10 minutes on the fast clock or 20 minutes on the fast clock for your brake test, so you could stretch this out. And as you can see, you got to go into this with a plan. You get into this little area here and you don't have a plan, or you don't have a plan B. Next thing you know, you're trapped. And the way I run this is you get the authority for that whole piece of territory, that whole railroad down there. You don't have the authority to just say, oh, I got to go down to Lake Curse and hit that big runaround so I have lots of room. So the way I set it up is you make a mistake, everybody knows it. Because you got to call dispatch and say, I need the main line so I can move my train around. So it's a good little piece of real estate, and it's got a lot of buildings packed in there. It's in a 2x4 space.
There's a lot in that little space that, well, not really little, but in that space alone, there was there was a lot of switching going on.
And I was totally flying through that. I'm a little too fast for me, to be honest with you. Well,
for sake of showing us what you were doing.
Yeah, I wanted to get the point across to everybody. So
yeah. Midwest Model Railroad, Steve Atwood says you will pick up a bit of better backing up with body mounted trucks. And then Eric Hall says MTL couplers cannot be beat. Yeah,
I agree with Eric. Microtrains just is far superior to anything right now. I mean, yeah, the Athearn cars, they look cool, and they got them McHenry couplers on them, and they got them metal wheel sets, but I'm about ready to rip them off because, as you can see, those two tank cars kept jumping that point.
Right.
Driving me bananas.
Right. Maybe you have to pray. Maybe you have to take them to the main shop and get the wheels thrown, shaved.
Well, I got to get the financing and get the wheels first.
Yeah, it always comes down to financing, man. Oh man, But on the whole, Joe, I have to tell you, I'm sorry, John. What was that? Yeah. Oh, Eric Hall, IMRRO.com says, I was trapped once, and now I'm married. I'll be here all week, folks. Don't forget to tip the waitress.
Tip your waitress.
Tip your waitress. Don't forget, try the veal.
Hold on one second. I gotta grab some.
Let's see. I'm I'm trying to see here. John Dilly, John. Oh, okay. He's talking to John out there. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Gaffney Haynes says, thanks, Joe. It was a nice show. I enjoyed it. Well, thanks for joining us, Gaff.
Thank you, sir.
Howie Mann says, I convert all truck mounted to body mount couplers. Andy Crawford says, lay the weight to the cars. The heavier they are, the better they track.
Very true, Andy.
Very true. I think this was an excellent thing. I think this series on operations is pretty well done. I think you're pretty well informed in how you're doing. I know I've operated at your your house the first or the second time you had the operations and stuff like that, and it's been it was interesting. It was quite interesting, and I think you got a little good thing going here. And I like I do like the whatchamacallit. I do like your layout, and I do like the operations thing here. I think it adds a new facet to this. It's just not, and there's nothing wrong with doing reviews and stuff like that, but I think this is really good,
Good.
To explore this. So this is pretty good.
I got a couple more good shows coming up. I think everybody will like it.
Brian W says, good job, Joe. Nice work.
Thanks, Brian.
Michael Conley, nice demonstration of switching in a tight space. Yeah. Touch of brush, model weathering. Hey, Joe and Bill. It is good stuff. Andy Crawford says, demystifying this thing we call Operation sure encourage more people to give it a go, and they'll fall in love with it. Speaking of married, the wife is calling, got to go and sit on the couch for The Masked Singer. That must be some new show out on TV, I guess. Well, enjoy, Eric, and be well. Take care. And feel better from your surgery, buddy. Okay?
Take care.
Feel better.
So, one thing is sitting here looking at it, and one of the things I wanted to say was, that little layout, that area, it's long. It's got two tracks with a couple switch over and a couple little sidings off the side. If you wanted to do something like that, you could put like a snap-on cassette, and, up there, have your train come in and do what I just did, turn around and then go out on the cassette and then just pull that off and go, so you're all set for your next one. So if you want to do operations, limitations should not preclude you because there's many different ways that you can get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Joe. And I think that, and I think earlier in the beginning of the program, you said something that I thought was, very true. If you don't have a lot of space, you don't need a lot of space. You can build this, you can build a shelf layout, across, the length of the room, on the wall, and just have it. It could be above your work desk, whatever, and you could, and it's a good idea to have to do some what's that investigation? Some reading that book. What was it? John Allen's
Timesaver. Yeah.
Yeah, Timesaver. If you go back to one of our earlier videos with what was his name, John? Steve Montgomery. He did a Timesaver on the show with us on one of the videos that we did. Go back into the archives of YTMB and you'll see it. And if you do a little research and you get John Allen's book on Timesaver, you can build something like that. And that would, if you don't have the room, or even if you do have the room, you can build one and put it in the crew room. So when guys who are changing out or who are extra bored or are waiting their time, instead of, drinking coffee and getting sugared up, they can, you can have that train saver in there and they call it, another name for it is called the Switchman's Nightmare. Oh, a different puzzle. Oh, okay. John's informing me that's a different puzzle. So, but you can, you can do that. You can do that and have it, on your layout or in a room or, put it in your closet when you finish with it and stuff. So it doesn't take much to do. And I think that this operations series that we're doing, I think is pretty beneficial for everybody. You know, Andy Crawford says timesaver isn't very prototypical, but it will teach you good equipment handling skills. Guys should look up Inglenook. It's a prototypical arrangement. Yeah, I agree. Timesaver isn't very prototypical if you're going by that way. Sure, but I think we're just looking to have some fun and basically hone our skills. And it's sort of like a thinking man's game. I know that when I was in the Staten Island Model Railroaders Club, they had a thing. I was telling Joe this earlier, and John, they had one of those timesaver things. But what they did was they added a little town in the middle of it and a flat car of dynamite. And you had to get the flat car of dynamite from point A on the timesaver all the way to the other side in point B, but you weren't allowed to go through the town. And it used to be very intriguing, and a lot of guys spent a lot of time on that and didn't work on the club layout. But all in all, I thought this was, I know, show of hands out there. Who thought this was good? I thought it was very good. There we go. That's 2. There we go.
I'm allowed to vote for myself, right?
Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So at work, funny story. At work, we have this thing where we have to vote. They call it the top cop vote. So my first year, I get the ballot. My name's on it. I circled myself. I submitted it. I get called in the boss's office. Why did you vote for yourself? I said, well, because I'm eligible to vote to win. So of course I'm gonna vote myself. I think I'm the best. I said, don't you think when the president of the United States goes in the booth to vote, you think he votes for the other guy?
Yeah.
So he looks at me and goes, you can't do that. All right, I digress.
I digress. But you're right. That's a good vote. We're getting a lot of hands up here. A lot of people are saying hands up. Mike Conley, Rock Island 652 says, nice job. More, please. And John Dilly, cool show tonight, Joe. Howie Mann gives us a thumbs up. And
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I think it was a great show. Great time. Great information. All right. I think we're going to call it a night. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I've hit all of my topic points that I wanted to show everybody tonight. So showed them the hold, how to hold a car. Showed them the customer request, the respot.
Right.
Which those customer request forms, they're really great. You can use them for anything. I use them at Clayton. They want all the covered hoppers, a certain type of car at the certain position in the facility. So you can I use it as like a standing order. So
right.
Those are really good. And went over our paperwork. Yeah, very good. That's all I got. That's all I got for everyone.
All right. With that said, tomorrow night, Thursday, the 17th, Johnny's Train Show and Johnny's Train Room will be open for business at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anybody and everybody can get in on the panel. It'll be posted on the G Plus page. And if you want to join in the panel discussion like we're doing tonight, you just need to have a good webcam and a good internet provider to get there. And you're all welcome to join in and be a part of it. And if you have questions about something that you're working on, or you have something you're working on and you want to share it with us, or you have some great tips, tool tips, train tips, whatever, by all means, please jump in. If you can't jump in and you can do the Q&A, by all means, please join that way. Jump in the Q&A and fuel the conversation and keep it going. We have lively topics, and we'd be surprised who pops in every once in a while. Next, on the 23rd of January, next Wednesday, Who's Big Bill Talking To will be back, and we'll be having a special guest, Ralph Renzetti, a.k.a. the Mudfather. We'll be talking to him about how he started in model railroading and where he's gotten to the level of, in my personal opinion, expert modeler, and also thinks outside the box, has done car models, has won numerous awards for the models that he's made other than train, and he does great weathering on box cars, rolling stock, engines, really good stuff. So we're going to have Ralph Renzetti next week, January 23rd, 2019, on Who is Big Bill Talking To. That will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for next Wednesday with that. And I want to thank John for doing the directing and hosting this, getting this out there, because he's the linchpin. With him, we can't do nothing. So thank you, John, for your invaluable service and your technical skills here. And thank you, the community out there, for tuning in, because without you, we'd be talking to dead air. So thank you again for being out there and being a part of this. You guys take care. God bless. And we will see you on the radio.
Good night.